as the temperatures start rising and your grass starts growing, the weeds are going to start raging. Let's get out of the weeds. Thank you guys for coming back to yet another video. If you guys like these videos, please be sure to like and subscribe to this channel. So as we get into spring and the temperatures start rising, your lawn's going to start turning green, start growing a little bit, but there's something else that's also going to be growing as well, and that is those weeds in your lawn. And so today I want to primarily focus on just a few main ones that you're going to see at this time of year with our cool season grass. And the number one thing at this time what you're going to start seeing is dandelions. And I want you to look at dandelions as the number one enemy, because dandelions can absolutely wreak havoc on your yard if they haven't already. Some of you, this may be your first year getting into lawn care, and everywhere you look is dandelions. That's okay. I'm going to show you how to get rid of them, and so you can start letting your good grass start taking over. So first, a little bit about dandelions. Dandelions are actually a perennial, so they will keep coming up year after year in your lawn. A single dandelion plant can also put out thousands of seeds each year. And so that's why you see, like we've all seen them, those yards that are literally just a sea of yellow in early spring. It's just because each year they drop seeds. If they're not taken care of, they drop seeds and it just spreads. And so then the following year, that same plant will pop up with all of its babies all around it, and then they'll grow up, drop seeds, and it'll just spread all throughout your lawn until next thing you know, your whole entire lawn is literally no more Kentucky bluegrass. It's just 100% dandelion. Another thing that's so bad about dandelions is that they have a very deep root system. And so if you just go up and pull the dandelion from what you see, like on the top of your grass, most of the time you're not going to get all of the root and everything, and it'll just grow back. And so I have a few dandelions here that I actually dug up that I have seen in my lawn that I wanted to just kind of give you guys an example. And so you see this little root here, and so you think, oh, I got the dandelion, I got its root, but you didn't even get anywhere close to it. And then look, this one right here, you can see right here is that has a, look at that big old root hanging down. But even still, it goes way down deeper into the ground. They get bigger yet still. Here's that one. And so many times whenever you're just pulling dandelions, you're not going to get all of it. And so that's why actually spraying stuff on your dandelions is going to help. So because the dandelions have such a strong root system, if you have weak grass in that, your grass is going to have a hard time just competing and keeping out the dandelions from coming, just because they're so strong. And then the other thing that they do is when the dandelions come up, they pop up out of the ground and they just lay flat. They just take up so much surface area, and they'll just crowd out the grass in that area, dying it back, allowing the plant to get bigger. And then it just kind of has free reign over your lawn. And so it's important to catch them early. And so now I want to talk to you about what you can get to put down on your lawn to get rid of dandelions and many other weeds you will see in your lawn in the spring. Two of the main methods that I like to get for weed control are your concentrates. And so with your concentrates, you just have this here, and then I have to mix it in a gallon sprayer with water, and then I spray it on my lawn. You can do blanket treatments over your whole lawn, or just spray it in spots. The next things that are very effective that I also like to use are what you're called your ready to spray. And so it's already mixed with the water here, and then some of them come with a wand. This one comes with a gun, so I always usually like this one just because it feels pretty cool to be shooting a gun out on my lawn, just killing the weeds. So I kind of like the symbolism of it too. So but the ready to spray, those ones are already pre-mixed for you, so you're just walking in your lawn holding it and just spraying weeds and it's ready to go. Now just the other day I went into a local hardware store and I was just checking out all the weed control that they have. And so I want to clear up any confusion you might have on getting stuff in the store and spraying on your lawn. There are many products that you will see to take care of weeds, and some of them will kill your lawn. So it's very important to make sure that you're getting ones that are safe for your lawns. And so now I will show you here on the screen of several different ones that are good for lawns, not good for lawns. The thing you have to make sure is just that you're reading the label. And most of the ones that are safe for lawns will definitely advertise for lawns or safe for lawns. And so just watch for that. If you don't see the lawns on the front of it, then there's probably a good chance that it'll kill your grass as well. Most of the ones that are going to kill your grass will say weed and grass killer. And so that's usually a hint that it'll probably take out your lawn as well. And so what you want to do is look at the active ingredients. And so I'll show you an example here of Roundup. And so a lot of people, when they hear Roundup, they automatically think it's going to kill their grass. That's not the case, because Roundup makes both products. They make products that will kill your grass and your weeds, and they make products that will kill weeds and not harm your grass. And so it's important to make sure you get the right product there. So when you look at the active ingredients on the weed control, the ones that are going to be taking out the grass and your weeds, a lot of them are going to be having the active ingredient glyphosate. That's the most popular term you hear for taking out grass and weeds is going to be glyphosate. So now when you look at the other ones, the other active ingredients in some of your other weed controls, you're going to see common names like dicamba, quinclorac, 2,4-D. And so those are just a few of the ones that you're going to see in your big box stores, and most of them are going to have a mixture of several different active ingredients. Instead of getting really complicated and talking about each of the different active ingredients, I want you to just know that the reason they put different ones in there is because some of them are better at controlling other weeds than what others are, and some of them will have different modes of action for how they kill the weed. And so there is a lot of overlap in some of the different weed killers. It's just because they will kill the weed in a different way, but they'll still target a lot of the same weeds. And so quickly on crabgrass, if you haven't put down your pre-emergent, you should be getting ready to put down that application if you haven't already to take care of crabgrass. We're not going to see crabgrass in our lawn for a little while yet, but know as far as weed killers in there, if you see the active ingredient quinclorac listed on the active ingredients, that is also going to help with crabgrass. But I will get to crabgrass whenever it kind of gets into that season for it. My favorite weed control, literally to use year-round on any weeds that I might have in my lawn, is Speed Zone. And so it comes in this concentrate like this, which you are usually going to pay a little bit higher price when you get them into concentrates. It's just because it covers a lot more area. And so for example, like this Speed Zone here, it says on the back it can cover between 13,300 to 18,200 square feet. And so if you have a 5,000 square foot lawn, you could do your whole entire lawn in this several times over. And so just know you pay a little bit more up front, but then you have this for a longer period of time, and you're not having to buy constant refills. I love using these, but these are usually like, they go pretty quickly just because it's already mixed with water. And so whenever you get your concentrates, you put in just a very small amount of this at a time. I mix it in my gallon pump sprayer, and then I just go and I spray the weeds that I want to take care of. Also, when it comes to spraying weeds in your lawn, most weed controls are going to be effective between 45 degrees outside all the way up to between 85 and 90 for most of them. So make sure you read the label of whatever weed control you have to make sure that the temperature outside falls within that range. You don't want it to be too cold or you don't want it to be too hot, because they can be, one, ineffective, or two, actually harm your grass when they're not supposed to. The other issue of putting down weed control is that you want to make sure that you don't have any chance of rain for at least a few hours. And so many of them, and so any weed control that you buy will have listed on there when it's going to be rainproof. And a lot of them will be between 4 hours, some will be 6 hours, some will be 8 hours. So just make sure you're paying attention to that, whatever you're buying, to make sure that you don't just put it on your weeds and then it rains and then you just kind of lose all effectiveness of the weed control. And so make sure you're watching that as well. So for some of you, you may not be actively seeing the yellow dandelions right now, but you can still find them in your lawn. And so what you want to do is go out in your lawn and start walking it and just look around for stuff that doesn't look like your grass. And so a lot of your spring weeds are going to be what they call broadleaf weeds. And what broadleaf weeds is, they're not going to look like your grass. When you get into some of your grassy weeds and that with your crabgrass, foxtail, some of the other ones, they can blend in really well and look kind of like your grass. But broadleaf weeds, for the most part, do not look like your good grass. And so as I'm walking around here looking at my lawn, I usually go for the certain hot spots. So for me, my spots where I know on my lawn where I'm going to probably see more weeds than others are usually going to be on the boundaries of my neighbors, because my neighbors may or may not take care of their lawn the same way that I do, and so they may have more weeds that are going to try to invade. And so a lot of times I start on the boundaries. So a perfect example of this is right here. So you look right here, you got all this good grass, and right here on my boundary of my neighbor, you can see dandelion getting ready to come up. And so you can see it's really early, so it blends in from a distance, but you can see, you get down in there, you see, looks nothing like my good grass. And so another hotspot area to always pay attention to in your lawn is always pay attention to your boundaries up against any roads or sidewalks. And with lawn care, everything is based off of temperatures. And so anything that's going to be up close near any kind of hard surface that's going to get hot quicker, those areas are actually going to be ahead of everything else in the lawn. So for the most part, if you look on your edges and boundaries, whatever weeds you're seeing pop up there, shortly they're going to be popping up in the rest of your lawn as soon as the temperatures keep rising. Because of the heat from the sidewalk and the roads, it's making the temperatures and things germinate and happening quicker there. And so you're seeing weeds pop up there before you see everything else. And so now as I'm looking and walking around my grass here, you can just see my grass, one, my grass needs cut, but two, it's just really thick. I mean, you can just see, and then there's just no way that these weeds are really going to have much of a chance to live in this lawn here, just because of how thick it is. And so the number one weed control you can have is just a healthy, thick lawn. So as you're walking around your lawn, you may actually start to see other weeds that aren't necessarily dandelions. Most of the weed controls that I showed you today are going to take out most of the weeds that you're going to be seeing in your lawn in the spring. And so I'll give you an example of a few that I have around my lawn. So there's absolutely no way I could cover all the potential weeds that you might be seeing in your lawn here in the spring. Because there could be all different things depending on where you live and everything else. And so a good thing to do is to go online and search for a university turf grass extension site. And so I know like Purdue University has one, Michigan State has one, I think Illinois University has one. So there's all different ones depending where you live. If you have a college that's close by that has a turf grass extension site. And so on those, you can actually look back and they'll have articles all about weed identification. What you'll notice as you start paying attention to your lawn and what kind of issues you're seeing in your lawn, you are going to start seeing weeds everywhere. I know for me, when I first started, I never really paid attention to people's lawns when I was kind of walking around to kind of see what was out there. And now as I've been in the lawn care here a little while, man, I see weeds everywhere. So everywhere I'm at, I'm always paying attention. Okay, what's coming up in their lawn? Because just because I don't see it in my lawn doesn't mean that it can't pop up. And so if you're ever just kind of out with the kids walking in the neighborhood or just kind of in the area, just pay attention to what you're seeing come up on people's lawns, especially those who aren't taking care of their lawns, because the weeds have just free reign to do whatever they want. And so that'll give you a lot of insight into what may be coming to your lawn. And so with that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys learned something. And so get out there, buy some weed control, and let's get out of the weeds into a beautiful lawn.